Dust storms, heat, heavy rains do not stop our brave presenters Anton Dukravets and Joly who are traveling across our immense country to discover some of the most amazing and unexplored places. In the last episode, our film crew went to rest in the warm springs of the Ratman Springs, and the second crew completed their journey in western Kazakhstan in the Ustyurt National Park, where they learned about the local history and even spent a night like real nomads in a Kazakh yurt. The journey continues, and today Joly will go explore a new tourist destination, Lake Kamystybas. And on her way she will visit the Fisherman Museum in the Aral Sea region and try to find the famous ship graveyard. Anton will continue discovering eastern Kazakhstan. His next destination is the mysterious Borel Mound. Don't miss all the fun, and most importantly, follow us in the social media by the hashtag across the Kazakh land. Kazakhstan has a rich nature. Our country is also a treasury of historical and archaeological monuments. One of these places is the Borel Burial Mound, located in Katon-Karagay district in the valley of the Bukhtema River. The distance from the center of Oskimen to the village of Borel is approximately 410 kilometers. It takes 6 hours to drive there by car. The autoroad from the village of Katon-Karagay is rather good, so it will be a pleasant ride. Here are the Borel Mounds. We are located in the Katon-Karagay National Park. There are over 70 graves here dating back to the 4th century BC. The scientists found mummified remains of people, the Scythians, the Sarkars, who inhabited the Eurasian continent at that time. The discovery is of global importance as the findings allowed scientists to better study the culture, crafts and history of their time. Most importantly, it allowed conducting a genetic analysis and defining the look of the ancient people and animals that had lived here. Russian Orientalist Vasily Radlov was the first to study these mounds. He unearthed the burial number 1. It was a grave of a noble man and his 17 horses buried with him. Studies of the subsequent mounds showed that the order, size and location of the mounds corresponded with the status and origin of the deceased. Ever since, the research of the burial ground has not stopped. In 1998-1999, Kazakh researchers, together with their colleagues from France, led by an archaeologist Zeynallah Samashev, organized an international expedition. As a result, the largest burial mound was discovered. It was the burial number 11, also called as the Khan's Mound. Here they found a huge number of items that belonged to the elite of the nomadic tribe that inhabited this area. They also found interesting remains of both people and horses, which have been preserved due to the unique permafrost effect. The scientists claim that the horse meat was preserved so well that you can still eat it. I would like to learn more about the finds, so I'm going to the local museum. Our second film crew will go to the famous ship graveyard in the Aral Sea. Once here life was in full swing, the coast was filled with ports, the fishermen did not have time to sell their catch, the residents were employed in the fisheries too. Before the 1960s, the Aral Sea was the world's 4th largest lake on the planet. Everything changed in an instant. They say that the sea level went 200 meters low in one night. In the morning, people did not recognize the sea coast. Some scientists believe that it was the result of human activities, irrational use of the waters of the Amudarya River, which led to the shallowing of the sea. Others say that in over 10,000 years, the Aral has changed its size 9 times. Therefore, we can assume that this is the next stage of the natural change of the maritime borders. However, people have accelerated the process. In the late 1980s, the sea was divided into 2 parts. A small part was ceded to Kazakhstan, but the biggest part joined Uzbekistan, which was soon divided into 2 more parts. According to scientists, the Great Lake will completely disappear in 5 years. Only the northern part of the lake located in Kizil-Orda region will remain. Many people still hope that the Aral Sea will return to its former dimensions. Aral residents are waiting for the day when they can once again hear the coastal sound of the sea waves. In the meantime, let's go back to the village of Borel in Katon-Karagay Reserve of eastern Kazakhstan to learn more about the history of the Borel Mounds. The largest mound has two graves in it, one of a man, the other of a woman. Scientists concluded the man was a Scythian prince. 13 thoroughbred horses were buried in 3 tiers. The reins and sleds were richly decorated with woodwork and covered with gold. Now most of the artifacts are stored in Astana in the National Museum of Kazakhstan, but a small part is here in the Borel Museum. Our museum has the originals, not copies. Here we have the horse skin found in the mound number 11. Are these the exhibits that you found in the mounds? Yes, exactly. Here are the fragments of wool coats. Is this what they wore? Yes, the fragments have been preserved. Preserved items are almost intact, and all thanks to the fact that the ancient nomads designed and made their graves with the effect of artificial permafrost. To do this, the stones were laid out in a certain order so that between them there was a void which was filled with water. After some time, it froze under the ground, thereby creating an ice container. Due to the fact that remains are well preserved, archaeologists were able to run DNA tests. They found out that the woman was 20 to 25 years older than the man. According to the DNA research, it turned out that she was his mother. They found traces of trepanation on his skull. This means that ancient people were able to do brain surgeries, probably to try to save his life, because the scientists believe he died of a mace blow on his head. The scientists have already uncovered 20 mounds. They believe that the most interesting discoveries are still ahead. Don't forget to follow Joly in the social media with the hashtag across the Kazakh land and learn more about the most interesting moments of our exciting adventure. Meanwhile, Joly is still far from her goal. Since morning, our film crew has been circling around in the steppe, or rather on the bottom of the Aral Sea, in search of at least one abandoned ship. Once there used to be a great number of them here. With the shallowing of the sea, the ships went farther and farther. Most are located near the village of Megansai. The local people still hope that the sea will one day return these ships. So the people never destroyed them, on the contrary, they repaired and maintained them. They were in a good operational condition for a long time. Then people realized that the sea will not return to its former glory, and so they abandoned the ships. That's how the ship graveyard emerged. Today this is just a desert. All the ships were cut in parts and destroyed some time ago. Therefore our crew decided not to waste any more of their time and go to the Museum of Fishermen instead. The distance between Kazakh and Aral is 444 kilometers. Travel time is about 6 hours. Aral Nature Reserve is very popular among tourists, so the local museum receives visitors daily. Madi Jasikanov, head of Regional History Museum, has kindly agreed to conduct a small tour for us. It is hard to believe, but the whole history of the Aral Sea is kept in this small house. Here are the items that represent the past and the present of the local fisheries. There are some rare items in the collection: tackles, tools and household items. A collection of marine animals is of a special interest among tourists. Once the lake was famous for its wildlife. More than 30 types of fish lived in the lake. The environmental disaster has led to many species going extinct.
Музей был открыт в 2012 году. Специально называется музей рыбаков.
The museum was opened in 2012, and it is called the Museum of the Fishermen. Valuable exhibits are the awards of our fishermen. We have 4 ships here. We want to preserve them for the future generations and the guests of our town. The museum has more than 1,000 exhibits.
Музей сейчас насчитывает более 1000 экспонатов.
The Aral Sea is a sad example of what humans can do to the environment. This is a vivid case of the real man-caused disaster. Everything here seems like it is filled with grief and sadness. Look at these lonely, rusty cranes of the former shipyard. One of the symbols of a thriving industry, today they are towering over a mountain of garbage. They have become part of the recognizable landscape of the city of Aral. The cranes were operational until 1975. Ships sailed from Uzbekistan where cotton was produced. The ship we're standing on is called Levberg. She's one of the main exhibits of the museum. Once she sailed to the Aral Sea to bring a team to investigate the level of salt here. And now she is just a pile of rusty metal. The museum keepers value the old ship. Here you can stand on its bridge and imagine you are a seaman. By the way, the former captain of the ship had long since moved to Moscow. He's immensely grateful for the safety of his vessel. Let's try cheering up and see what Anton is up to in the east of our country. Archaeological research reveals the secrets of antiquity. The scientists have recently discovered that the people who had lived here before the Common Era produced gold and a thin and exquisite gold foil used to make fine jewelry. Here we have tissue fragments. They are painted in red. They mainly used yellow and red colors. It looks like meat. Yes, horses still have meat, skin and even grass in their stomachs. Scientists conducted an experiment and gave a piece of meat to the dog, and nothing happened to her. Borel jewelers were very skilled. They made jewelry from expensive metals. Clay pottery and leather goods were also found in the mounds. Historians suggest that the people of the time were nomadic and semi-nomadic. And who is this? And this is a Salka, mound number 16. There was a burial next to it for 2 people. He was of a European descent and she was a Mongoloid. I thought these were the Indians. At that time, races mixed a lot. The woman's clothes were embroidered with golden thread. The atmosphere here is very unique, antique. I feel like these people are looking at us through ages and generations. Of course, there are still a lot more questions than answers. Discussions around the descent and culture of the people who had lived here are still ongoing. Likewise, discussions about the ways of reviving the Aral Sea have not stopped either. Fishing has been developed here since the ancient times. The lake was used to be rich in flounder, herring, asp, as well as freshwater fish. Today, the distance between the former port of Aral and the waterline is 60 kilometers. Former fishermen breed cattle today. They change their craft and calling to make ends meet. The Aral shoaling is a disaster of a continental scale. It doesn't only affect the region. The sea salt is carried by the winds all the way to the Pamir Mountains in Europe, destroying fertile soil on its way. Similarly to a reagent, the sea salt melts the ancient Tian Shan glaciers. Their overall size has already shrunk by almost half. Against all odds, the local people are still hopeful. Moreover, Kazakhstan puts a lot of effort to revive the lake. The first steps to save the lake were taken in 1992. Today, not only the authorities, but many activists, environmentalists are working together to restore the once glorious and majestic Aral Sea. How many resources are required for the restoration of the sea? And is there any estimated time frame when it can be recovered? In 2005, we completed the construction of the first phase of the Kokoral Dam. It is 13.5 kilometers long. We restored a small sea with the help of the Sirdarya River. The Aral Sea is higher than the dam. There are lots of projects now. Probably the scientists should focus on one of the projects. If the Aral Dam is opened by 6 to 7 meters, then there is a chance that the water level of the small Aral Sea will increase by 48 meters, and the volume of water will be replenished by a third. Another option is to build another dam in the Sarashiganak area to create another reservoir in the area of Aral, which can also be gradually increased. Don't forget about our photo contest. Share a photograph from one of the destinations we've visited in our journey and share it in the social media with the hashtag across the Kazakh land. Let's go back to Anton. Most of the Borel burial mounds, according to their archaeological type, belong to the Pazyryk culture. They were nomadic people, a mix of Caucasian and Mongoloid ethnicities. They believed in the heavenly patrons, honored the dead, and highly valued weapons and horses. The researchers managed to recreate a copy of the horse found in the mound number 11. It belonged to the prince and was decorated with gold-plated items. Its copy was displayed during the international specialized exhibition Astana Expo 2017. This is an exact replica of the saddle from grave number 10. Here comes the image of a leopard attacking an argali. We call this scene a torment. Why does a horse have such golden horns? They wore masks made of felt and leather painted red. They wore a set of argali horns. They honored the animal. There is a legend that once the sun disappeared and argali, climbing to the top of the mountain, raised the sun back to the sky with its horns. So they cut them out of wood and covered them with golden foil. The jewelry was made in the animal style, which was peculiar to many ancient cultures. Scientists believe that this was a reflection of the whole world and ideas about it. Mostly people used images of predatory animals, birds, and fantastic creatures. We often see a griffin, a mythical creature, a mix of predatory animals with the body of the leopard, the beak of the golden eagle, and the horns of the argali. The features of the strongest animals were combined to make one mythical creature, and it was often depicted on the flags carried by tribe leaders. People believed that their leader could obtain these features from wild animals. And what modern people believe in, we will find out right now. Joly and the whole film crew have just arrived at Lake Kamystybas. This is Lake Kamystybas in Aral district of Kazakh region. Its length is 26 kilometers. The depth is about 16 meters. The water is crystal clear like Issyk. There is no silt or clay in the lake. The bottom looks like it has perfect swimming pool tiles. Few people know about Kamystybas, so there are no special conditions here. However, the place is very popular among the locals. In the summer, residents from all the nearby towns come here. Kazakh residents often spend their weekends here, so we decided to stop and take a break here after a long journey. And to be honest, the heat of Mangistau has knocked us out a bit. The lake water is crystal clear and medicinal, and this is what attracts most tourists.
Адамдардың үстіне шыққан жаралар болады, соған бірден-бір ем су болып табылады бір жағынан. Сосын көлдің ерекшелігі бұл жерде тұздылығы өте аз. Тұздылығы аз. Сол себепті бұл көл келушілердің қызығушылығын тудыруда.
The lake is located 86 kilometers from the city of Aral. This is the largest water reservoir in the Aral system of lakes. Today it is the best place to stay in Kazakh region. The swimming season begins mid-May, ends in September. The main advantage of the lake is its location. It is only 5 kilometers from the Western China, Western Europe highway. Therefore, you can often meet truckers and tourists. But today, for some reason, there is not a soul here, so for now, let's see what Anton is doing. Borel necropolis is located in a picturesque valley at the altitude of 1,120 meters above sea level. There is an unusually calm atmosphere. Complete silence reigns here. The area is surrounded by majestic mountains. Ancient people believed that gods and ancestral spirits lived on mountain tops. Perhaps that is why this valley was chosen for burials. Tell me, how can an ordinary tourist or traveler visit the museum? Do you have any tours? So there are a lot of travelers who come to the recreation center. Organized group tours for school children are quite popular. So you can just pop by and ask for information. We work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. But we often open the museum for groups coming after 6 p.m. We have no days off.
То есть, в принципе, можно просто приехать, сказать: здравствуйте, я хочу посмотреть.
Да, у нас рабочее время с 9 до 6, ну, хоть и после 6 приходит, мы все равно открываем музей, показываем. Без выходных мы работаем.
Altai is believed to have seen the cradle of the Turkic world. The excavations continue to this day. So far, archaeologists have found only 70 mounds, but they are sure that several dozens more are hiding under the ground. Borel is shrouded in mystery, which our scientists will have to solve. Here is Lake Kamistibas. Scientists still need to study its healing property. Locals claim that the water in Kamistibas has healing properties. According to them, small wounds and abrasions are tightened right before the eyes. While the water is very soft and surprisingly clear. While scientists have not yet studied the lake, the origin of the lake and the composition of the water remains a mystery. The water in the lake is salty. Its composition is similar to seawater. A children's camp and a boarding house for 100 people were opened on the coast in 2016. Ever since, the beach has been improved and features recreational water activities. The shores are sandy, sometimes stony. The beaches are comfortable for swimming. Some information on the avid fishermen out there. There are as many as 20 kinds of various fish here. Carp, pike, catfish, bream, crucian carp, a real paradise in the steppe. Local authorities are planning to build a tourist center on the lake and develop tours to the nearby historical places. The Sirdarya river flows into Lake Kamistibas. In winter and summer, the water in the lake is at the same level. We have been developing tourism in this area since 2000. Local entrepreneurs help us a lot. We allocated 494 hectares of land for a tourist camp. We are currently working with 27 businesses. We will talk more about this in the next episode of our show. Next time we will also travel to southern Kazakhstan. Follow our trip in social media with hashtag Across the Kazakh Land. This is all for today. We learned as much as possible about the secrets of the Borel burial mounds. We visited the seabed of the Aral Sea and witnessed the dreadful and disastrous consequences of people's unreasonable use of natural resources. Tried to find the mythical ship graveyard, spent some time near the wonderful lake Kamistibas. We hope our adventure was just as exciting and unique for you. Follow Anton Dukravets and Joly in the social media with the hashtag Across the Kazakh Land. See you soon.